My son is 3 years old and he goes hardcore. We were at a friend's birthday party and they had some monkey bars and he went all the way across them, got to the end, turned around midair and came all the way back on his own. He didn't think twice about it. All of the other kids were scared to go on there. They actually asked me to help because there was no other adult around and I'd help some of them across, but my son would get up there and he would just start booking it. Well, like any worthy adventure that a young boy would take, it's not really a good one unless it challenges you. And there's a risk involved that makes it that much more exciting. Sure enough, on one of his times turning around, he lost his grip and came slamming down onto the ground. He came running over to me with tears in his eyes because he'd just fallen, and I made sure that there was no serious injuries, but I made sure that he also got right back up there and did it again. He was a little hesitant at first, but once he got back to the spot where he fell, he froze. He didn't know what to do. I made sure that he conquered it though. We did it about 4 or 5 more times, and finally he was able to get his bearings back and turn around and do the same thing that he was doing before, because I didn't want that fear to stop him from trying hard things. The next day he was at home doing his normal climbing thing on top of furniture, which we've said not to do, but he'd still sneak it in there because he has just such a desire to climb. Well, he made the mistake of putting his foot on something that was not solid. He slipped and fell and sliced the back of his head open. I ran over and I scooped him up and I was holding him and he was screaming, but his screaming was a little bit more intense than what he normally does if he just falls and gets hurt. Sure enough, I moved my hand from the back of his head and I had his blood on my hand and I knew that we had to go to the emergency room. Once we were done, he had 3 staples in the back of his head and he was ready to take on the world again. My wife had promised that we could go to Chick-fil-A so they could play in the playground, and I said, I don't think that's that good of an idea. He's got 3 staples in his head. He's gonna get hurt climbing on something in there because he's gonna forget that he's got that wound on the back of his head. She was the one who broke the bad news to him since she'd made the promise about going to Chick-fil-A. She said, I'm sorry, buddy, we're not gonna be able to go because you can't get hurt. Like a true little boy, he responded, I can't get hurt. I loved his tenacity because nothing was going to hold him back. And I thought about how many times in my life I have been knocked down, face smashed on the ground, kicked in the teeth, not literally, but figuratively speaking, by life, and things just get me down, and I get so fearful about trying to do something again. I don't know if there's anything that you've had happen to you, or maybe you're going through it right now, where you just feel like you're facing defeat after defeat after defeat. Every time you try and do something new to make progress, it seems like you get knocked back on your butt, pushed back 2 or 3 steps. No matter what you do, it seems like you keep on falling and failing. Well, I challenge myself, and I challenge you to do what I did with my son on those monkey bars. When he fell, get back up and face it again. Keep doing it until the fear that kept you from trying it again is no longer a problem. It's not that you're unaware that you could fail, but that you're aware of the risk and that you still can make it in spite of that fear. And have the same audacity that he did when you walk out of the emergency room of life and you've got the battle scars and the bandages to prove that life has given you a major beating, but you have that audacity to say, I can't get hurt. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do it again. I'm not going to let this hold me back. I've got too many things that I want to do, and I'm not going to let something as little as this keep me from moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope the story of my son overcoming his fear and his pain inspired you. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. If you like the content, give me a thumbs up, put something down in the comments section, share it on social media, and I will see you next time when we can share a cigar and change the world.